วัสดีทุกท่านนะคะวันนี้เป็นเกียรติมากๆค่ะได้มาทำหน้าที่อภิปรายนะคะเรียกว่าเรามาคุยกันซะมากกว่าถึงทำยังไงเราจะให้เด็กๆไทยเนี่ยมาอ่านหนังสือมากขึ้นแล้วก็มันจะ empower กันได้ยังไงแล้วได้รับคำแนะนำหรือคำสั่งด้วยนะคะบอกว่าให้ดำเนินรายการเป็นภาษาอังกฤษล้วนๆแล้วก็จะมีหูฟังแปลนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นก็จะขออนุญาตดำเนินการเป็นภาษาอังกฤษล้วนๆนะคะโอเคค่ะ so let's start and I was just saying that how the questions of how to empower our children to have the future, especially in reading in ASEAN, is a very challenging and a tough job. And now we have all the experts from ASEAN, and you know them already, right? Because I just got here, but you've been with together for a few days. And well, let's start. Kick off. What would be the characteristics of the children in ASEAN for the future?That we will think that we would like to have them. Okay, start from you.
Okay, to answer the question, I would like us to go back to what Dr. Namfa identified as the 5 principles for the ASEAN peoples. Knowing the ASEAN, valuing identity and diversity, connecting local and global, promoting equality and justice, working together for a sustainable future.So these may be used as standards or guides for us to create children with characteristics of the ASEAN. Of course, it's a big idea, 5 big ideas, which needed to be sliced down into little pieces. So I can simply suggest a strategy for us teachers, librarians, and parents on how we can create the characteristic of an ASEAN child. Maybe we can start by looking at our children.become reflective thinkers. Not just thinkers, but those who can reflect. So when we say reflection, we move to feelings, the affect, what goes on in the mind, so that we move with the hand, an application of what is conceived in the mind, what is felt in the heart, and applied in real life. So having said that, the product of reflective thinking is the action.And action should always be assessed and evaluated to go back to where we begin. So a cycle of reflection, thinking, and action.
To reflect from our thinking and at the end we need action.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. So we need action and to implement. Yeah? Okay, that's very good characteristic. And next, yes, Mr. Sothik, from the Cambodia, and of course he also a very influential. I think maybe the generation, your generation in Cambodia, might have to work very hard because now Cambodia is growing, and a lot of people want to invest, and we need to have very good children to be the future of Cambodia. Please.
I think that one is the most important thing for.The Asian community is we are all agree that to be Asian community is very important for us, for all member states, and maybe each state need to promote the education among the children. But I think that in a lot of country in Asian, we have.A lot in some country we have now a big gap of access to education between the children living in the capital, in the town, and the children living in the rural area, in the provinces. So before all, I think that each government must to promote access to the education for all children, and after we try to educate the children about the open mind, about the maybe first each children must be proud to be Asian citizen because it's the only one one potential of our countries to be an important actor in the world. So to be proud is very important, and to be open and to respect the culture from each other.
And respectful for our culture, because we know that ASEAN in 2015, the ASEAN economic integration is coming up, but of course even though we're going forward, we also have to keep our culture. It's a kind of utopia, I think. Maybe it's very hard to reach. Well, we'll come back to that, how to build them later. Okay, and next, Ms. Zubaidah, please, yes. The characteristic of the children that we would like to see in ASEAN.
I think what we have been discussing these past 2 days is to have children who are free to think. And I suppose what we are looking at would be children who are inquisitive, who has the ability to be creative and be able to think for themselves. And how do we get to build such characteristics in these children? I'm thinking more about this proverb that we always hear from Africa. That a child is raised by a village. And in this sense, I think as Asian countries or ASEAN as a whole can be that village. So a child can be raised by the community. So we get to learn of each other's culture and heritage. At the same time, we know of our roots. So when we share knowledge and when we share our culture across the different states of ASEAN, that's how our children are going to learn to respect each other and understand the culture of each other. And one way would definitely be by sharing of stories, because the stories would have the culture and heritage of that particular community entrenched in the stories. And by sharing different stories from ASEAN countries, then the child would know of the different culture and learn to appreciate the cultures of other nations, and at the same time be able to respect other people. So I can't agree more that children must be able to appreciate their roots and be able to respect others. So that's probably the community that we want in the future. It's something that we want now, but we also want it in the future so that it's continuous. And we hope that we can show that to them, you know, because we can't just be telling children, do this, do that. We have to be the role model. We have to show by example. So if we are sharing with them now, when they are young, we hope that when they become adults, they will pass on this different culture and heritage that we have shared with them.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, not so much different what we want, but maybe for your side, maybe like want them to free to think and also be creative. Yes, okay. And coming up next, yes, please, from Penang, and she has to leave soon, but we'll get there in time.
Okay, I do very much agree with Zubaidah, because I think the 2 days that we are here, we are sharing our best practice. Because what we are trying to do is to get our children to read from an early age. So reading to children and getting them to read, sharing stories, will make them a very good Asian children, because they will be able to communicate. And once they can communicate, they can be able to think creatively and collaborate. And our 2 days here has shown a lot of practice that we can share. So I think that we should applaud the knowledge management here, giving us a platform to know and understand what we have been doing. In fact, every nation or every country here is doing the same things. And we should share and make it and see that, you know, the best practice are used. I think that's the best platform we have here right now. Thank you.
Very precise and get to the point. They should be able to read. But then read how and read what, we'll discuss that later. Okay. Mr. Chan. Ahn, yes, from Korea. He's not going to sing, he's going to tell us something. Yes.
My family name. Thank you for this discussion and the TK conference. I think the future depends on what we do at present. We must think or read thing, but the most important thing, I think that the generation who live from the 20th century to the 21st century must make a peaceful world. The peaceful world can be made by peaceful people. We must think that those who work for the book, with the book, work for the libraries, can plant the peaceful mind in the mind of next generation. I think that the relationship between human being, another human being, for example, you and I, ASEAN plus 3 or plus 6 or plus 20 or plus 100 other countries, and the relationship between human being and inanimate beings. The relationship, 3 relationships are the fundamental relationship in the universe. We Koreans have the expression in idiomatic expression. The Korean traditional thought about these 3 essential relationships, that is, Kyung-in. Kyung means respect. In means human being. Respect the human being. Respect for the human being. And another, Kyung-chon. Kyung means respect. Chon means the nature. Respect for the nature. And another, Kyung-mul. Kyung means respect. Mul means the inanimate beings. So these 3 fundamental relationships, human being, the nature, and inanimate beings. As far as we know thoroughly and fully, we can be respect to human being, the nature, and the inanimate beings. It is the reason that we must make an effort to promote the reading culture. The meaning of reading books is the understanding of the mind of a human being, the mind of the nature, the mind of the inanimated beings. The misunderstanding caused conflict. For example, at the 20th century, we have many conflicts. We had many wars. For example, Korean War. For example, Vietnam War. So on.
Okay, so
just a moment.
Yeah.
I like the image of the tree, one tree. I had presented you the tree of human mankind. Before the present, we dare to dream, we dare to share together for ASEAN. So I want to mention to you, we dare to dream, we dare to share together for humankind, human mankind, human beings.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right. So the first round, we have another round, and then we will go as a panel discussion. So all you saying, I think maybe not so much different when we heard what we would like our children to be in the future. in ASEAN and also in Korea. We would like them to be creative. We would like them to read. They have the peace of mind and all that. But how to build them is another very challenge things to do. It's not just the community, it's also family, it's also everything. So now we would like to go one more round, how to achieve the children of our dreams in the future, please.
Okay. Zubaidah said that it takes a village to raise a child. So we begin with the family. What laws are there that support the family? Are there family codes? Is there children's rights? How are these implemented in schools? Outside the family, children go to school, they have a community they belong to, they go to worship. So how are they being respected there? How are they being given the opportunity to think, to dream, to create? And then there is the nation. If the children are the future, then what are indicators that tell us that the nation truly values the children? So it begins with the family, moving on to the school and the community and the whole nation. But we have to see what laws are being legislated so that the family is supported, from healthcare to education to rights, from political rights to economic rights as they grow up as children of the ASEAN.
Okay, so family, school, nation, everybody. Everybody, I think that's everybody. But then ways, the ways in which we achieve the children of our dream, maybe Sothik would like to share that. Because you have experience, you study Russian, you study French, and you have the multicultural kind of experience. Please.
I think that when we talk about the integration and open mind, maybe we need to have everyone to have periods of culture shock, maybe because we face into another context, we face in another culture. So I think that all of us can meet the culture shock, so that I don't think that we can have something common within sacrifice from each other, because between two persons, if you are friends, one person maybe must sacrifice some own quality in order to accept the quality of other, and learn to accept or to bring the quality of other as the passion, as the interest for each other also. So I think that the open mind and the interest, because when we are proud by ourselves and we say that we are the best people, we don't we have not interest for other people, so we have nothing to learn from other people. And in this case, we cannot speak about the community. We cannot speak about the collaboration.
You mean that like they have to be able to communicate what they think, and also not to be afraid. Yes.
Yes, not to be afraid, and maybe to be curious is very important also, because when we are in international context, we must to have this kind of curiosity. What about the culture from other? What about the education? About the language that they speak, etc. We share everything together.
Yeah, I got it. Because once they are curious, then they maybe they want to learn. They're very eager and enthusiastic to learn. And Zubaidah, and I think in Singapore is the children there that study a lot, no? They read a lot because they have to compete. Well, Thailand we do too, but in Singapore I think it's much more intense. maybe you know more, you could tell us.
I can't agree more. The pressure is so high in Singapore. You can see kids going from one tuition place to another. And there was this recent story about a week ago on Sunday. It shows a 5-year-old boy changing uniforms in the car. And when it was asked why the child has to do that, the parents said that, one of the kindergarten, he's enrolled in 2 kindergartens. So from 8:30 to 11:30, he goes to one. And that kindergarten has a different technique, different strategy. And then there's another school that he goes to about half an hour later, up to 3 p.m. That one used another methodology. So the parents felt that the child benefits, and it seems like he enjoyed it. But I have my personal thoughts on that. I thought it's really stressing the child too much. But the child looks like he enjoyed it, and he really shares that he has learned so much from the different experiences that he had with his friends. But then again, what do we want for the child of the future? I think whatever that we want for the child of the future, it should start with us, because we are molding them. We are starting with them now. And I feel that, like this morning when Dr. Amonvich stated, he talked about classroom and teachers, and what he mentioned about teachers is something that I agree with totally, because he said, to be able to get that kind of students, the teacher must change. And so I think all of us should change. It starts with us. So it's from the personal. And if everybody agrees that we are responsible, we are the one effecting the change, then it will work. If we believe in it, then it would spread from one to others. And when everybody believes in it, then we can shape the future. But if we have doubts and we don't trust each other, then I think that message will also follow through to the future. So I think we have to accept that we are now responsible to molding that society that we want in the future for the ASEAN country. And we can build them now, not to have to wait. Because in this morning's lecture, he also mentioned that there's no point having all the infrastructure in, like in Singapore. You see all the massive structure, you see all the technology and all that. But it won't be any good if the society doesn't change. So I think that is the very important thing that we have to do, all of us. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That's very moving. We are responsible. We all are responsible for our children. And yes, because I just got back from Singapore. I was there for like a week, and it was like a special assignment for Inside ASEAN. The Thai PBS has a special program. And of course, I noticed a lot that, wow, my God, things are very expensive there. And a lot, they're building more buildings and stuff. But then the most important is the thinking. It's not just the infrastructure and the cost of living or how much you earn. I can also share, right? But anyway, it's the afternoon, Friday afternoon, so maybe, let's laugh a little bit when we do the discussion. Okay, and also in Malaysia, Malaysia is also another, economic tiger. And Malaysia is, coming right after maybe Singapore, but they're competing now. And what I don't know much about the reading culture there. Maybe I guess it's very mixed culture.
Yeah. Well, we have a saying that babies are born like a white sheet. So we are the ones, as Zubaidah say, will mold them. So in Malaysia or in Penang also, we are trying to inculcate the reading habits. That is why we have the Every Baby a Book program, where we start them very young. Like yesterday I said, from the womb to the tomb. So you're starting them from when they are in the womb. You're educating the child from the womb. And as you know, reading is the way to obtain knowledge. And the more we read, the more the child learns. And it really gives you the power. Once you have got knowledge, you have got the power. So if we can mold our children from now, we transform ourselves and we transform them, I think Asia will be a better place to live in.
Just like that. Okay, Mr. Ahn, yes?
Yeah, most high school students, about 70 or 80% high school students go to university in Korea. So I used to say my son, two sons, please play, don't read, don't study. Wow. All children of the world must to play, don't study. Children have the rights to enjoy freedom and have equal opportunity to exchange their freely mind. All the children in the ASEAN and all the children in the world should be considered as free citizens of the new peaceful world. That must be made by you and I. John Dewey had said that if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we'll love our children of tomorrow. We must think that we must love the children of the new peaceful world tomorrow. They are not simply members of certain nations, but free souls of the universe. Okay? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're done with the questions that the basic questions, the characteristics, and also how to build them. But now we are in the globalization. We are also in the digital world era. Don't you think that kids these days, maybe their behaviors of learning, of reading has changed compared to the time when we were young? Maybe we didn't have the internet, but now they're born with the internet and everything with the finger touch. You think that they're smarter, or the way they learn how to read has changed? Could you share with us your experience?
Okay, first of all, when we say that children are smarter in this digital age, we have to look at the definition of smart. How do we define smart? There are already 9 intelligences, so multiple intelligences, and a person may possess 1 or 2 intelligences. So our definition of smart in this age has also expanded. And there are different learning styles, like what we heard from the speaker this morning. So our children may be born into the digital age, and they are digital natives. And they may be identified having different kinds of intelligences and learning styles. But I believe it doesn't make them less smarter than our generation. But the environment that they are living in this day and age requires them to develop more skills. In fact, children today are demanded to acquire more skills to be able to navigate this technological environment. So here we now see ourselves as parents, teachers, librarians, and caregivers of children, or people who take care of children. How do we give them, how do we respect them in their intelligences and their learning styles? So as a parent, how do you see your child? Do you know your child? Our speakers yesterday identified talk and conversation as one way to develop the brain. But as parents, are you conversing with your children? Are you talking with your children? Are you giving quality time with your children? Because the fact that you listen to your children and you talk to your children, that is already an exercise for them to be smart. It's already an exercise for them to express themselves and be creative in speaking and in listening. So, is the family in this day and age still gather in one dining table to eat and talk? Or at the end of the day, when you go home from work, do you have time to listen to your child? Or you watch TV or surf online? The young ones are laughing. So those are the things I think parents should take into consideration. You have to see how your child learns, what kind of intelligence he or she is developing, and if the school that he or she goes to develops that intelligence. Is the school library or is the public library addressing the intelligences and the learning styles? So as school librarians, what opportunities are you providing to develop the intelligences? What learning resources, what materials are you giving these children so their potential to grow in their own intelligences and contribute to the community can be accessible, can be beneficial to the greater society? Also in teaching and education, maybe we need to look at our reforms. Are we teaching in the context of the 20th century where stability is the buzzword, or we are giving time for our children to facilitate their own learning, to own their own learning? Do we trust them enough to set goals for themselves to learn? Because they can make a choice and they can identify what they want to learn. So as teachers, we also need to look at our paradigms. So a recurring review of how we teach, how we raise our children, and what opportunities are we giving them so they will grow within their potentials and discover themselves. Because when they know who they are, then they can compete in the global arena.
Oh, thank you. So that we maybe guide our children, but then also let them participate and be themselves.
Yes, because participation and engagement is also the technological environment of the digital age. That's why they are so into electronic games, because it requires them to take a certain control of what they are doing. Are they in control of their learning? Are they in control of their behavior at home and in school and outside the community? So what we can do is to provide or design instruction, design environments where they can fully develop these potentials, but enough engagement to express themselves and make mistakes. Because failures are also important for children to grow. And it's also okay to tell them, no, there are limits. There will be struggles. Your student will say no to you. They will not do their assignments. They will not follow your discipline. But it is all part of growing. And in a way, as parents, as teachers, as librarians, as people of the country, we also grow in the process. Maybe not in the same way our children are growing, but as caretakers of the children.
Okay, very clear. Well, to talk to Sothik, I have another question. So what are the values, the good values of ASEAN that you think that we would like to teach our young children?
I think that we have a lot to teach to the children, but first maybe because when I would like to come back to the first question about the Asian. If we speak about the adults must teach the children about the future, about the Asian. But I think that in the same time, most adults in our countries, in all countries in Asia, doesn't know the exact role of the Asian community. So I think that the adult must learn first before children, and the adult also, and mostly the government must learn about, the era from other community as maybe Union European, and the positive point and the problem, the crisis, etc. In order to avoid to commit the same error in the future in the Asian also. So I think that for children to teach them to live in the future in the community of Asian is easy when the adults are, are convinced for themselves that Asian is very important. So I think the first step for all of us as adults to do that.
Yes, okay. Yes, and
I have one thing about the digital age. Some days ago, there was one interesting experiment by Umberto Eco. Do you know Umberto Eco? The Italian novelist.
Italian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Italian
right,
novelist.
yeah. Umberto Eco. Yeah.
Umberto Eco have throw the Kindle that have 100 texts of the novels, including his novel, and the book, Kindle and the book, by his, it is his novel. Yeah. Then the Kindle is broken, but the book is not broken. Most people that the Kindle, the digital devices is the high tech, but I think that the book have the high technology that cannot be broken. Technology is one of the tools. We must know, we must learn, we must teach the know-how, the very broken-over technology. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, and come back to Zubaidah. Well, for you, another question, because I think we go around, each country is quite different, right? So when parents today seem to work hard and they maybe seek only comfort and leisure, how can they become child's role model? Especially, of course, maybe in Singapore, people move very fast and try to do a lot of things at the same time. I was there for 1 week. I think I've lost like 2 kilos. Walking constantly. It's true. Right?
You get used to it. You see, I don't lose any kilos. Okay, about parents being
but
the
parents are very
role
busy,
model.
and how do they be the role models of the child?
Okay, I share a bit about parents yesterday in my talk, how we partner them and all that. The one thing that we have to realize is that being a role model is not something that you have to be conscious about, because this is part of your everyday life. Children are always watching us. You don't realize it, but the impact we have on them is very, very strong. So I always like to say that we don't tell them, we show them. And what they are doing is they are always watching us right from their very young age. And what we know is that when we are reading, the papers, everything that we do, they are watching. So if you are readers, your children are going to be readers as well. And in learning about early childhood education, there is this phrase that we say, teachable moments. So we have to seize, to capture all these teachable moments every time it happens, because it can be any time. You can't plan for it. So if you see something, like you're taking a drive, and you see something on the road, and your child is interested in that, you have to start explaining, not to wait and all that. And sometimes children will come back from school and ask you about certain meaning of words or the answer to a question. Do you answer them? Or do you equip them by giving them the sources? Show them how do you find answers. And that's how you be a role model, not giving something easily like that, and showing children that it takes hard work in learning, but it's also fun. So you must remember that, we must remember that we have to make it seem that it's a natural thing to do. Learning is part and parcel of our life. And the most important thing about being parents is that you have to forge that bond when they are young, as Madam Shukriah has mentioned. So what we can do is be a role model by singing to them, talking to them, doing activities with them at the same as they grow older. And just like teachers, this morning we heard that teachers have to be friends. Now, parents have to be their children's friend. So this is not heard often. You know, we see parents as being the authoritative figure, and that shouldn't be just that. Of course, we have to instill discipline in children, but how do we do that? We can still be friends and teach them the good values. So I think it's really important to build that bond with your children so that you can instill the good values, you can be role model by doing activities with them, by showing them what are the things that are important in life. It's not just getting that A's in exam. It's more about being a human being, respecting others, and instilling in them the culture, the love for other people. Like Mr. Ahn said, a peaceful society, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I think we learned a lot today. As sometimes, because I cover economic news, I thought, wow, the country to go forward, very important. But now coming back, yes, I think building our nation, building our children I think is one of the most important and immediate things to do, right? And if we start to do it now, we cannot wait, just like you say. We have to teach them now. Stop and teach them. Okay, and come back to Shukriah. And we have another 16 minutes, yes, to go. So the clock is ticking here. We can see it very clear. That's why our speaker's been very good. Okay, Shukriah, for you, of course, in Malaysia, and the technology is more advanced, yeah? It's one of the most advanced in Southeast Asia, in ASEAN. Don't you think these days, the children, they learn more from the internet, or the internet has changed their way of reading? Or there's both way?
Actually, if you're saying that the internet, there's a concern that we think if they use the internet, reading might be on the decline. Because one thing, if you notice our children right now, when they have their phones with them, they do not communicate. They be using their phone to SMS to their friends, and even at dinner tables, they will not be talking to us, to the parents, because they are more interested in the SMS that they have through their friends. And when that happens, communication is not there. Now, when they don't talk, they don't have proper verbal communication. So if you see the SMS, you will be so afraid because the SMS there is not a proper language. Sometimes you don't understand what the SMS is.
Yeah.
So that's the fear, because you have got to have good verbal communication. Once you read, you continue to read, and you start reading young, they will have that verbal communication. But if they are on the Facebook, and the first thing they want to do is to put everything in the Facebook, and again, there's a danger. The verbal communication is there. They don't call the friends, they don't call the mother. In fact, if we are on the Facebook as parents, which they don't want us to be, we will know where they are. So sometimes they don't want to put us on their Facebook. So that's the fear. And actually, if we were to look at libraries like in Penang, we are online. So wherever you are, you can use the library. You don't have to go physically to the library. You can just hook on to the home page, and you can know what the library gives you in terms of services. But again, as Mr. Ahn said just now, the book is irreplaceable. Although we have the e-books, they still would love the book, you know. So actually, it's good. You're on the internet. You know the latest technology, because technology is changed, but I think we still need to go back to basic. Okay?
Yes. Oh, sure. You can also add something. We have 13 minutes, yes?
Okay, this is going to be quick, promise. I just like to add that I don't think that reading is on a decline. It's not declining, but it is changing. So we have to look at reading and what it is. Let me give you 5 definitions. Reading is a social linguistic process in which we see symbols, we understand symbols and the environment around us. Reading is developmental. A child goes through different reading stages, from preschool, grade school to high school, and the child can go back and up and stay in the middle. So the child can go into the scheme anywhere he or she wants for as long as he or she is developing. Now, if the child is already in high school, or the teenager is already in high school, and he or she has the reading ability of a grade schooler, that is alarming. So you have to see reading as a developmental process. Reading is also interactive. In my plenary yesterday, I identified the relationship between the producer of the text, the creator of the text, the one reading the text, and the technology. So this is a process that we also need to see because it is an interactive process that is also a definition of reading. Then we also need to see reading as a unitary skill and a global skill. There are big skills and little skills, sub-skills associated with reading. And then our brain, we're physiologically and psychologically prepared to read. And likewise, the brain can also be designed not to read. That's why we have special learners and gifted learners. So we look at reading as a whole. I believe the book is still important, but with the internet, we have to broaden our definition of reading and see in different perspectives where our children are. So having said this, we have to watch out and look for them online and in the reading materials available for them in print form.
Okay, I think we go to Mr. Ahn. Yes, you were mentioning about peaceful and peace of mind and peace this and that. And now is the question for you, what are the values, the good values of maybe Asian communities that we would have to maybe teach our children for us to reach the peaceful region in Asia?
I had said that we are not under the nation, under the races, under the very different culture. We are on the base of human being. Yeah. It is very important things we must think. We nowadays think that where are you from? From means the nations. But the new next generation think that where are you from? I am from on the earth, on the planet, the only planet, the earth. So we can overcome the nationhood. Our next generation can cross the border of the nations. I think that we can teach the next generation beyond the nations, okay? And we can teach the peaceful mind in the mind of the children, okay? Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's, we have also, talk about and answer all the questions prepared. And now, anything at all that you here would like to give your opinion or anything that you have been discussed within the last 2 days, you like to share with us? Yes, just maybe 1 minute each, 1 or 2, but very quickly. Maybe Sothik, you were writing something. You have anything to share?
No, I would like to add only a small thing about the peaceful in the region. So I think that the mutual understanding is the first thing we need to have, and because sometimes between two neighbor country, we have not a lot of exchange between our population, our intellectual, our teachers, our children maybe. So I think that more we exchange in all field of competency, all field of in the society, more we can avoid the problem, the conflict, etc.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Zubaidah. Yeah.
What I can see is that all our children are becoming more tech savvy, as in very familiar with all the information that they can get via the smartphones, via the internet and all that. They may be smarter in different sense because they have the opportunities, different opportunities open to them. And they literally can have all the information they want about the world at their fingertips because they are using their thumbs and their fingers to get this information. But I think what is important is for them to have a balance because they can be tech savvy, but what are the values that we want them to have? So I think as parents, educators, librarians, and the whole of the community, we must be able to strike that balance between having that information, the technological advancement, versus the core values that we want our Asian community to have. So that is, I think, the key to having a very stable society in the future, because you can't just move on and forget about your roots, forget about your values, but what are the core values that you want the children to have? So that is something that I strongly believe in, balancing that in your children. Thank you.
Thank you. Shukriah, yes?
Okay, what I would like to say about the 2 days of conference we have here is that all of us are looking towards, especially in all the countries here, we are building libraries, and I am fascinated the way Cambodia is doing it is because it's through NGOs, and same with Korea, because that does not happen in Malaysia, because they still require the government to come in to help build libraries. So it's a very good effort, and I feel that this is not the last day. It shouldn't be the last day of the conference. There should be continuity and share what we have learned in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes? Sorry.
I had said that we must think a little thing, but the most important thing. We Koreans have the idiomatic expression 역지사지. It means people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Even if the world comes to end tomorrow, I will plant an apple tree. Perhaps Spinoza had said this. Yeah. The most important thing is that we should do our best in our present life. The future depends on what we do at present. Thank you.
Thank you. That is so true. Last, yes, Sarah.
Okay, I may have I may have presented a paper in the first day, but I would like everybody to know that I have learned a lot from the conference. And thank you for the many insights that the conference have given me. When I go back to Manila tomorrow, I am going to give an echo session before the month ends to my small professional learning network in Manila, school librarians, so that I can tell them the good news of the TK conference on reading. That's the first one. The second one, I would like to impart to everybody that we have to be lifelong learners, and these are not just skills that we need to master, but also a paradigm, a belief system. Lifelong learning is not just a set of skills, but our philosophy. So we have to learn how to adjust, how to be flexible, how to look into ourselves, see our mistakes, and bounce back on what we can do for the better. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, we have a minute. Okay. Very good, right? Yeah, we cover everything. Because we have all the speakers that they, I also learned in this 1 hour panel discussion. Because me, myself, I also like to study, and I read a lot when I was young. And I think that reading through books is key, because it's the window to the world, right? Knowledge, and it stays with you. And also as a paradigm shift. But one thing that will remain is our knowledge. I think that we are all responsible for taking the responsibility for our children. Not just ASEAN, I think the children of the world. So, all right, so I think that for today, yes, we have 54 seconds. And thank you so much for the audience. And the audience here, of course, been very great. And I know that you have a very two days, very intense. Of course, we'll all have something to go back and to think about. And not just to think, but to do and implement for the better future. Okay? All right, so today I would like to thank all the panel discussion. Zarah Gagatiga from the Philippines, and Sothik Hok, Cambodia, Zubaidah Mohsen from Singapore, and Shukriah from Malaysia, and Ms. Ahn for Korea. Thank you very much. Thank you, ขอบคุณค่ะ And I think that will be the photo session as well, yeah? Okay, ค่ะก็เราก็จบนะคะแต่ตอนนี้ขอภาษาไทย so I'll talk in Thai วันนี้ถือว่าเป็นการพูดคุยกันที่นอกจากว่าเราจะได้ความรู้แล้วเนี่ยเราก็ยังได้แรงบันดาลใจอีกด้วยนะคะหลายๆชาติที่เขามาแชร์กับเราในวันนี้ก็เชื่อได้ว่าหลายคนเนี่ยเป็นผู้ที่มีประสบการณ์แล้วทุกท่านที่อยู่ตรงนี้เนี่ยก็จะเป็นผู้ที่เอาไปถ่ายทอดให้กับลูกหลานของเรานะคะยังไงก็ขอฝากไว้ด้วยฝากอนาคตของชาติไว้ด้วยขอบคุณมากค่ะขอบคุณค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ